What's going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube? I appreciate you guys being here so much. And I want to talk about, I got the American flag hat just to kind of have a little visual display. But Joe Biden is really taking on a lot of truckers. It seems like he will be trying to implement some sort of trucker mandate, according to Business Insider. It says US to require truckers to crossing US border to be fully vaccinated starting January. This is interesting for many reasons. First of all, we already have a supply chain problem that they say doesn't exist. Like half the time, the media will say the supply chain problems, it doesn't exist. And then they'll be like, it does exist, but here's why you shouldn't get a Thanksgiving turkey. Here's why you shouldn't care. It's like these people are idiots. They're like, it's not real, but since it is real, you should just like think about not hanging out with your family. It's like these people are disgusting. But anyway, just a couple of days ago on Washington Examiner, it says 2.5 million truckers say they'll quit over vaccine mandate. Industry warns Biden. I believe this is going to be a very big moment in medical tyranny in America and just North America in general. He's coming after the truckers. A lot of truckers do not want to get the vaccine. A lot of truckers are, pure Americana. They're not the typical San Francisco liberal. We love everybody. We love our city folk. We love our country folk. We love our truck drivers. But these are not the type of people to just bow down. I think a lot of people who drive trucks too, I have this feeling of freedom. They get to travel the country and they just like to be left alone. They sit in their truck for a while and deliver stuff. Man, I love truckers. I've come to appreciate that, especially over the last 2 years, seeing how everything's doing. But I know out of any industry, this is like the one industry I feel like you shouldn't mess with, because these people are not pushovers. And I mean that everything I say as a compliment. So hopefully the truckers stand up for themselves. Hopefully they're a big driver in stopping medical tyranny in America. And this could really be a crossroads of what we're going to see. So that's what we're going to talk about. Someone said born free. Exactly. God bless y'all. I want to read 2 tweets real quick from my buddy Scott Adams. If you guys don't know Scott Adams, we go back and forth on Twitter. It's been months because I just leave him alone now. But he's a guy who got 2 vaccines, and that's awesome. We love everybody, vaccinated, unvaccinated. You get this, you get that. You like orange juice, you like apple juice. We don't discriminate based on diet and medication. But I want to read back-to-back tweets because I just think it's hilarious. This is the creator, the artist of Dilbert. He's, quite the social media influencer. I like him. He said, this is what, let me think, July 14th, 2021. So just a few months ago. He said, if you are unvaccinated, you are in the middle of a deadly pandemic. If you are vaccinated, it's Wednesday. So this was like his little troll, I guess. He likes to play little games and be like, oh, I didn't say anything. I just made a little thing. He likes to play a little game like that. So he was saying just a few months ago, if you're unvaccinated, you're in the middle of a deadly pandemic. If you're vaccinated, it's a Wednesday. And his recent tweet today is hilarious. He said, soon I will have 3 vaccinations, supplemented vitamin D levels, and a COVID pill in my pocket. How much more money do I have to give to pharma before they will set me free? Just name your price. So I just found that hilarious because he's like, yo, can you guys just leave me alone? I'm getting the 3rd one, COVID pill. I got vitamins. Like, I feel like this is what we were trying to say over the last year or so. We don't care what you do, right? But if you think you're going to get a couple shots and act like what I call them vaccine supremacists. I think it's funny. Not everybody who's vaccinated is a supremacist, but there are those type of people. We talk about it here just for kicks and giggles, where it's like, oh, I got it. I'm so much better than you. I deserve this. I deserve to take off my mask. I deserve access at Disneyland. You deserve to sit on the sidewalk. These type of supremacists. And then like 3 months later, they're like, whoa, 3 shots in. When am I going to get to go back to normal? Spoiler alert, never. That's what we're trying to tell you, folks. If you don't stand up now for yourself, for your kids, for your grandkids, for the future generations, for your family, for your community, for your country, whatever it is, for your job, if you don't take a stand now, you're done. It's over. You lost. You lose the battle of medical authoritarianism. This is what we're trying to get to. So hopefully the truckers, that's the story of the day. Hopefully the truckers can really come through for America, because I know truckers do not like to be told what to do. And they work hard and they're important. And a lot of truckers, sometimes feel undervalued because they're out here keeping our country afloat. And a lot of people don't treat them nice on the roads. And you got politicians always trying to get in their pockets, tell them what to do. a lot of truckers in a lot of countries are feeling very underappreciated. So I would watch if I were Joe Biden with all of this authoritarian tyranny. So here's the story of the day. Business Insider. U.S. to require truckers crossing U.S. border to be fully vaccinated starting January. The Biden administration will require all truck drivers who cross U.S. borders to be fully vaccinated. The mandate will go into effect on January 22nd and will pertain to all essential travelers. The American Trucking Association, based, has warned vaccine mandates on truckers will have serious consequences. So the American Trucking Association is already saying, don't do this, Joe Biden. Poopy, sleepy, slow Biden. Slow your road, buddy. Calm down, buddy. So let's keep reading. Business Insider. President Joe Biden will require all truck drivers who cross U.S. land borders to be fully vaccinated by January 22nd. The administration planned to announce on Tuesday. The mandate will apply to all essential non-travel, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. The decision comes at a time U.S. is facing major supply chain snags, true, including a shortage of truck drivers. The American Trucking Association warned earlier that vaccine mandates for trucker could worsen supply chains. So you get it, folks. Biden is trying to mandate this. Here's the crazy part. And I know like people have lost their minds. I think a lot of people lost their minds over Trump. Like they hated him so much. They just believed anything that anybody said about him. And, that happens to both sides. If you want something like, oh, the election, and then anybody that comes around says, oh, the election was messed up, everybody follows them because they're like, oh, I want to believe the election was. It's like, okay, but that doesn't mean anybody who panders to you is telling the truth. People on both sides get fooled very easily like that. But the left wing, they're like, I hate Trump. They like went off a cliff. So now you have but the point I wanted to get to is you had Joe Biden, Fauci, Jen Psaki, all of these people over the course of time, like when they were getting into office, I saw videos of them on Twitter where they were like, yeah, we're not going to mandate the vaccine. Yeah, roughly saying stuff like that. Oh, no, I don't think we're going to mandate it. And now they're mandating it further. They said you could take your mask off. Now, is anybody noticing just because regardless of how you feel about Trump or Republicans or whatever you're mad about today, do you not notice that these people just keep lying to you? You get what I'm saying? Like, oh, we're not going to mandate it. Oh, Joe Biden's on camera basically saying, if you get the vaccine, you're not going to be hospitalized. You can't get sick. It's like they never tell the truth. It's like, oh, ridiculous. But like I said, Washington Examiner said 2.5 million truckers say they'll quit over the vaccine mandate. What's going to happen? Let me know in the comment section what you think. I hope truckers stand up. I think they will. And it seems like to me, this administration is like purposely sabotaging our country. I can't really think of what else they would possibly be doing. It's like, I don't know what they think they're doing. In other news, this is a big one. Oil reserves released by Biden. Fox Business says expected to go primarily to China and India. CNN reported Biden announces release of oil reserves, but says gas prices will not drop overnight. Biden to tap into U.S. oil reserves to combat rising gas prices, said New York Times. I think Jesse Kelly, I forget where he works, but I think he said it best. This is his tweet. Jesse Kelly said, pro tip, the strategic oil reserve is for when we get attacked and need the fuel to keep our Air Force in the air. It's so your cities and towns don't get bombed into powder with you and your family in them. It's not for when you get some bad poll numbers about high gas prices. I think he was being definitely very, pushing people to be like, yo, you don't want your family to get killed, which is true. But I think he's totally right about, the oil reserves, they're reserves. It's like your bank account. If you have like a emergency fund, it's for an emergency. It's not so you could go spend it, when you're feeling down or something. So I feel like Joe Biden with the oil is a total joke. He closed certain pipelines. He didn't want to keep it going. He wanted to act like he's Mr. Build Back Better, Green New Deal. Oh, I got it all planned. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing with nuclear. They don't have enough green energy yet. And he knows he needs oil. So he sabotages stuff we already had going on. And now his poll numbers are going down. Now him and Kamala are wildly unpopular. Everybody's saying, they're not going to win the next election. He's now saying he's going to run again. They're worried about their poll numbers. They're worried about their popularity rating and the fact that the Democrats are probably going to lose the House, the Senate, and the presidency at current polls. That's the betting odds right now. They're underdogs in every aspect of it. So now he releases it from the oil reserves and is like, yo, gas prices are going to go down. Yeah, because you're going into the emergency oil, you complete buffoon. He is such an idiot. It's insane. We'll see what happens, but hopefully truckers take a stand and hopefully it doesn't affect our country because the truckers keep the food on our table, the products in our living rooms, and they do a lot of work. They shouldn't be forced vaccinated. And I'm just going to say this, and then I'm going to get to questions and kind of interact with you guys. If they can, this is the big part that a lot of people are missing. If they can decide that you need one mRNA injection in order to go to work, they can decide you need two. If they can decide you need two, they can decide you need a booster. Since these things are not as effective as Pfizer and Moderna said they were when they initially rolled them out, 95%, that's not true. It wanes over time, blah, blah, blah. They can do this forever. They will do this forever. I mean, come on, folks. Like, it's not about whether you want to get it or not. It's not about whether you want to get the booster shot or not. It's about, do you want to give the government, do you want to give corporate class, and do you want to give big pharma, who has been the biggest lobbyist in Washington for over a decade? They've been consistently, I was looking on Open Secrets every year, 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018. They're the number one lobbyist. If their products are so good, why do they need to lobby Washington? Why do they need to lobby Donald Trump and Joe Biden and Democrats and Republicans? If their products are so amazing, why do they keep need to buying off Washington politicians? Well, maybe it's because every time they pay off politicians and every time they lobby, they get things passed in their favor. In the 80s, they passed the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. Now they're not liable for side effects, injuries, or deaths. Then they passed the PrEP Act under George Bush, and now under an emergency, they're not liable once again for side effects, injuries, and deaths. Now they have a product that, because of the pandemic, they had the government fund them to the tune of $18 billion with Operation Warp Speed. They had the government then buy their product in many cases. For the companies that they didn't fund, they just bought their product, 100 million doses, 100 million doses. And then they had the product that they literally had subsidized it, funded, and bought by the government. They have it sold to the government by the government and forcing people to get it with no option. They have the craziest business deal. Think about this in any type of business, whether it's a hat business, a food business, a water business. If you can have the government buy your product, force it into people, make it illegal not to take, ruin somebody's life and career if they don't get it. Meanwhile, you know that these things exist, that it's not 100% safe like they're saying, because nothing is. But in general, they've protected themselves from any liability financially from any injuries, side effects, or deaths under the PrEP Act, National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, and other little government clauses. How did they get those passed? Look it up. Go to the Wikipedia page for National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. They admit on the wiki page, which is in no way like right-leaning, they admit that they lobbied the government. They're paying the government. They're paying both sides of politics to do things in their favor, just like every lobbyist. I don't lobby the government because I'm not buying off influence. That's what they do. But the point I'm getting to, if you allow that company, that government, and that corporate class to mandate a medical product that they have no liability for your demise if something bad happens, if you allow them to do this to two or three, this will never end. So, the people, whether you got this or not, it's the people that are not getting it, and it's the people that are standing up against it. And it's people like, as much as I disagree on certain things, Ben Shapiro, who, although he's vaccinated, he's taking a stand with his business. It's going to be people like that are going to save you from future generations of authoritarian and tyranny, because they're using this public health crisis and they are using this virus as an excuse to just be full-blown authoritarians. Oh, there's a new sickness around. I guess we should just go full Mao Zedong. I guess we should just act like Joseph Stalin now because there's a virus, and anybody who disagrees with us is a conspiracy theorist. It's like, I'm sorry, that's not how the world works. You don't just go full Karl Marx just because, there's a new sickness. These people are, as I branded them, medical authoritarian psychopaths. And I came up with that. I also came up with vaccine supremacists. I see a lot of people using it. That's fine. It's public domain. It's for the people, but we came up with that here. And if someone else said it before me, that's fine. I'm just saying they're vaccine supremacists, medical authoritarian psychos, and it's not about science. So hopefully the truckers really make a stand, and hopefully more people make a stand, because they're trying to do it slowly and sneakily and spread out so they can weed people out and just crush our country. We got to go back to normal. And I do want to say this. Someone said I'm a trucker and I'm not getting it. God bless you, Charlene. I want to say this. America is a special place, in my opinion, for many reasons, but there's two very important things that, as I've gotten older, I've grown to appreciate. I didn't used to appreciate these as a child. One of them is called the Constitution. It's not perfect. It's not the best thing ever created ever. But as far as government legislation goes, it's one of the only things that I've ever seen that isn't in favor of the government. It isn't working against the people. This is a law that has been passed, or these are constitutional, writings that are trying to put space between you and the government. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, all you don't want to give these up. You don't want to give a single inch on any of them. I don't care if it's a right winger telling you it's for anti Semitism. I don't care if it's a left winger telling you it's for racism. I don't care if it's a bump stock ban. I'm on the side of the Constitution. I don't think you should infringe on it, whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And people should get smart because it's one of the greatest things ever created for governments because it's not for them. It's for us. They're going to, oh, it's racist. No, it's the only thing that says, get away from me. Stop. You're not allowed to take this stuff. And they want to ignore it to take it. And another great thing is how we have 50 states. I think it's a cool concept in America, how we have different states and counties. It can be frustrating at times, but you have Kansas. They're rolling back a lot of restrictions. You have Oklahoma for the NBA team rolling back restrictions. So as Joe Biden's becoming more authoritarian and more like Mao, you have Republicans, some of them, not all of them, growing a spine and starting to push back and trying to make it, illegal to be an authoritarian. And it doesn't, we got to be libertarians on this one. Some people think so, but when the opposition's being authoritarian, there are certain rules on the book that make sense. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not be a complete authoritarian communist. You need to have your constitutional freedoms to back these people up. So it's great to see as Biden is becoming more authoritarian, you do have certain mayors and governors and politicians and, state legislatures starting to push back against this tyranny in conservative areas, which is great. I forgot to include this real quick, but Santa Cruz, I just want to read this real quick because it sounds too crazy to be true. Santa Cruz County is putting a mask mandate, and I want to read this real quick. They are reinstating a mask mandate indoors, and they're apparently even saying that you should do it in your private areas. So the health official order even requires masks to be worn in private settings, including homes, when people who are not from the household are present. So you have the government, and I don't live in Santa Cruz County. I would never live in this type of authoritarian county. Santa Cruz County is trying to force you to wear a mask in your own house. They don't even care if you're fully vaccinated. Oh, my friend has a booster shot. I have a booster shot. The government is trying to tell you that you're not allowed to breathe air without a piece of cloth over your breathing holes in your own damn house, folks. This is why people are right-wing. Why is Joe Rogan and Tim Pool so far right-wing? Because you guys are psychopaths. Why wouldn't they be? Why wouldn't any smart person lean right now? Anybody with half a brain, even Elon Musk, he does like solar energy and gets government subsidies. He should be the biggest socialist on the books because he gets government money. He even doesn't like you and is moving to Texas because he actually makes stuff. You can say what you want about SpaceX and whatever, but Tesla, he makes real cars. Tesla, they work. I've driven one or I've been in the passenger seat. It works. He produces things, so he hates the Democrats who try to steal things from him. Do people not get it yet? After a year, about a year of the vaccine being available, booster shots available, they're implementing a mask mandate in your own house. This is the Democrats, folks. I'm not saying the Republicans are perfect, but why would anybody ever vote Democrat? Why would anybody not get this? The real battle is trying to hold Republicans accountable. The real battle is trying to get Republicans to stop giving up ground and running around the country selling pharmacy products. That's the battle. The battle is not figuring out which side is worse. It's clear. It's obvious. Like, imagine 3 years ago being like, hey, could you imagine if the government told you that you had to put a mask over your nose and mouth, like a piece of cloth over your nose and mouth in your own house? Dude, that's crazy, Anomaly. That's a conspiracy theory. No, that's Alex Jones. That's a conspiracy theory. It's like they're doing it, and now people are like, yeah, this is what I want because I'm a liberal. It's like, what? Dude, what is wrong with these people? The funniest part about like Donald Trump and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden is when you talk to like liberals or progressives or whatever the hell they call themselves nowadays, they actually want them to do like more authoritarian stuff. Like liberals were mad at Donald Trump. not because he was running around the country doing this and that and printing money. They were mad at Donald Trump because he wouldn't be authoritarian enough. Donald Trump's allowing Florida to do what they want to do. Donald Trump's allowing people to not wear a mask if their business chooses. Like, you think Donald Trump is a dictator, you call him Hitler, but then you want who you think is Hitler to force you to put a mask on your face? I'm sorry. Kanye was right when he said that, if 400 years of slavery, he said that sounds like a choice. And people said, what do you mean? And he's like, bro, if that many people were enslaved for that long of a period of time, at some point there had to be a mental aspect to it that people didn't revolt and go back. That's what he was trying to talk about. So if you think Donald Trump is a dictator, but you want him to put a mask on your face and make it illegal for you to take it off, no matter your vaccination status, you're like, what? I'm reading the Kamala Harris comment section. They're like, Kamala Harris, why won't you do more for police defunding? And I'm like, out of all the things going on now, like, the left is like out of their freaking minds. I was never that way, even when I like wasn't political and I didn't, love Republicans, or I didn't like George Bush, and I thought Fox News was the worst. I was never this type of person. I never thought the Second Amendment was like evil and needed to disappear completely. I don't know where they make these type of kids, but I God bless anybody with a kid like that. I'm sorry. I don't know where they learn that stuff, but that was not for me. Let's see. Let's read some comments. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. God bless the truckers. I'm with you in spirit. Anybody standing up against medical tyranny, you shouldn't be forced masked. You shouldn't be forced tested. You shouldn't be forced vaccinated. And I don't think people should cave personally. Them telling you, oh, if you don't get a vaccine, then we'll test you every week. I'm not a lab rat. I don't need to I need to prove I'm healthy everywhere I go. If you're so afraid of everybody else, just stay inside, okay? You can't turn the whole world into a freaking open air slave prison because you're afraid. If you're afraid, stay home. If you don't like crowds, order Uber Eats. If you don't want that, order Whole Foods delivery, and then you can cook your own food, and you can watch Rachel Maddow and stroke your 1,000 cats and be like, this is really healthy. Whatever. Just stop. Leave the truckers alone. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. Thank you, Monique. Appreciate y'all. Let's see what people are saying on here. Someone said, do I know the sun in Alaska won't rise again until next year? I've heard that about Alaska. The sun period's pretty crazy. Thermonomics said, yo, I don't know if it's just me, but I haven't seen all your notifications for some reason. It might be you. They might be doing stuff, but the shadow banning and stuff, that's just to be expected if it's happening. So I don't even complain about it anymore. I get it. They try so hard. The joke's on them. I'm about to hit 1 billion minutes watched. A billion minutes watched. So the joke's on them. They tried hard, but they failed. It's okay. Someone said my mom and sister got the flu a week ago. I told them I didn't think the flu existed anymore. Yeah, no, it's still there. Watch out, folks. The twindemic might come. They're trying to like make a name out of it, like Batman and Robin. They're like, twindemic might destroy. It's like, dude, they just need to fearmonger. Twindemic. What if they both hit at the same time? I don't know. All right, I'm going to read this on Facebook. Kim said, my husband is a truck driver. Thank you, Kim. He does explosives to the coal mines. Now they're trying to shut the coal mines down. This administration is trying to implode the country. Like, they are full authoritarians. If they're not purposely trying to implode the country, I'm not sure what they're doing. Like, I wonder if they know that, or if they're just so evil and so into power and money that they don't even pay attention. But someone said at my job, we're doing the home COVID testing. To me, that's why, and I get why people do it at this point, the world is becoming more and more authoritarian. So everybody's trying to protect themselves. I got to keep my job. I got to keep my money. I got to feed my family. I get it. In crazy times, you got to do what's best for you. But that's my line in the sand. I'll take a test if I want to take a test, right? I've never been forced. Like this is a new era of medical tyranny. And people think, oh, forced vaccines, that's medical tyranny. Yes, but forced vaccination is medical tyranny. Forced masking is medical tyranny. So is forced testing. I heard, I don't know if it's true, but people are trying to say Fox News, Newsmax, they're making people test. Joe Rogan makes people test. that's their prerogative. But to me, that's medical tyranny. This is now a new era. 2 years ago, nobody's testing, even on a cruise. Okay. I used to go on cruises all the time. If you go on a cruise, they wouldn't test you. They would ask you, did you have the flu recently? And you would say no. And if you said yes, they wouldn't let you on. It was like an honor system. They never tested you. So now that they're rolling in tests for cruises, this is not going to go anywhere. This is like, you get what I'm saying? It's like taxes. They grow, all this stuff. So I'm against forced testing. I'm not against tests. I'm not against, doctor's visits, none of that. But forced testing, weekly testing, demanding that your employees do home testing, this was never a thing until 2020, and this is never going to go away. It's another cash cow, and it's dehumanizing. It's like, you need to prove to me all the time that you're not sick. It's like, I don't like that. I don't play with it, and I feel bad for people that have to do it. I wish people just stood up for themselves. Like, listen, truckers, I guarantee you truckers are going to do more than any other industry because they have this type of mentality. Too many people have this type of mentality. Oh, I don't mind being tested. I don't mind it. That's fine. I don't care. I'm not going to tell people what to do or what to like or not, but people don't realize it's a slippery slope. It's not like, oh, I don't mind it. That's fine. I have friends that call themselves conservatives and Republicans, nice people, but they're like, oh, I prefer masks on airplanes. I don't mind it. And I like it. And I'm like, you're missing the point. That's nice that you like masks on planes, but it's like, you're losing ground. These are not probably ever going to go away. We'll see what happens, but forced testing, like, they're just pushing forward with their authoritarian agenda. And then people are like, I don't mind. It's like, okay, well, when it's 2 shots, you don't mind, but when it's 10 shots, you might mind. When it's weekly testing, you might not mind, but if it's daily testing and you can't access your bank account without it, you don't mind wearing a mask on an airplane, but if you had to wear a mask on public transit all the time, which you do in many cases, then you might not like it. So it's like, I don't understand. Like, it's not just liberals that are ushering this in. You have medical authoritarians in both parties ushering this in. You have Republicans funding them, giving them everything they could need, money, testing, all this stuff, all this power. And then you have a lot of, the base who just goes along with it. So this wouldn't be possible if everybody that considered themselves conservative, stood up for themselves. But that's not what we see. A lot of Republicans who watch Fox News, they love this stuff. They're scared. They got, I saw some guy with a fanny pack. He had like a hand sanitizer on him, like it was like Wild Wild West, like it was a gun. He's like, and it's like, bro, wash your hands. I'm all for cleanliness, but it's not really great if you're just hand sanitizing like 5 times a day. That's not like healthy, but you could pretend like it is, but whatever. Someone said left versus right paradigm is false. I hear you, my guy. Deplorable Ant said, I agree with everything you were saying. Thank you. Well, thank you, Deplorable Ant. That's one way to get to my heart, is just tell me you agree with everything I'm saying, because I agree with everything I'm saying too. So we got that in common. Thank you, Deplorable Ant. I appreciate you. God bless you. Let's see. Someone said the government don't own you. They definitely don't, but they're trying to. They're trying to just swallow everything up. Money, truckers, like they just want control. They're control freaks. That, to me, people say, okay, the left to right's a false dichotomy. To me, what's false is the Republican and the Democrat. Like, if people think, and I hate to be mean, but if people think Donald Trump's draining the swamp, it's not happening. It didn't happen. I thought he might. He didn't. Okay. But left to right, it's not a false dichotomy, because there are different mindsets out there. And not everybody that calls himself right wing is really right leaning in philosophy. But the two competing philosophies is, and there's more along the spectrum. It's not just one or one, but you have a group of people and millions of people who literally think that they should control every aspect of your life. You shouldn't influence your kids in school. They should do it. You shouldn't access the money in your bank account. They should be able to look at everything you do everything you do, take more money, shut you down, lock you inside your house, force a needle in you, force a mask on your face. That's happening. And then you have a group of people who says, no, leave me alone. So there is a difference. It's not like oh, we're being fooled into this false dichotomy. Yes, the Republican Party is a joke. Trump didn't come through, but there are really two competing ideologies going on. So I do lean to the right. The problem is people in the Republican Party get up there and pretend to be libertarians, and then they end up being like socialists. Like, if you listen to Donald Trump talk, he sounds like a libertarian, but when you look at his policies in 2020, he's closer to Karl Marx than he is Thomas Jefferson. He put the whole country on welfare with the CARES Act and printed billions, trillions of dollars, gave $18 billion in a socialist scam bill to big pharma and bragged about it. He's not a libertarian. He's closer to communism than he is, the founding fathers, but he sounds good. So that's the false dichotomy. But the theory of like leave me alone is great. It's just people on the right wing don't get yet that a lot of these people that they think are doing it aren't doing it. But that's why you got to just look at results. Don't just listen to people's mouth. Look to see what they do. If they got 4 years, look to see where it ends. Look to see what happened in the final year. And if it's not what you thought, then it's time to look for a different libertarian-ish, conservative leader who's willing to go the distance and put some space between us and the government. But Biden is definitely worse. He's more authoritarian. He has less, he's worse on oil. His foreign policy, I think, is worse. I get why people prefer the right. I think it's a better option. It's just I wish we could get a little more. Hopefully that's not greedy, but I hope we can get a little bit more. Someone who actually and I think the demand is there. That's why I say this stuff so much. The demand for a real leader is there. We have the leverage. It's just, are people willing to really call it out? And that's where I think self-accountability really comes in, because I think everybody wants a leader, but nobody wants to be a leader, right? Everybody, and this is the one aspect that people might get mad at me, but in general, I think there are certain people that looked up to Trump, not in a way that they were ready to do something, but they really liked him because they felt that he was going to solve all their problems and they could just sit there and watch Donald Trump. And that's just not the truth. Whether it's Biden, Obama, or Trump, nobody's going to do stuff for you. If you want your life to be better, yes, there's definitely politicians who could screw it up, but you got to make your life better. You got to be part of the change. You can't just sit there and say, oh, this guy. And I feel like to the left, Donald Trump was this villain character that wasn't real. And to the right, Donald Trump was this hero character that wasn't real. They cartooned him, and both sides picked a side. And I don't think he was really either of those things. So, the point I'm trying to get to is, outside of Donald Trump, if every Republican believed in what they claim to believe in, none of this would have happened in 2020. But here's what you have. You got a lot of big talkers. You got a lot of, I support Trump, but I'm not even willing to put down the PCR test every week in order to, go to my favorite show. It's like, so how is Donald Trump going to save you if you're not even willing to save yourself? Like, you got to help him. You got to be the change. And if he doesn't do it, you have to admit he didn't do it and keep it moving. You can't just stay there and want to, I feel like a lot of conservatives, they just want to watch the Trump show. They don't want to be part of the change. They don't want to save their country. They don't want to be honest about their community. They don't want to, look at other ways they can help the country. They just want to sit there and replay the Trump show, because it's like watching Tom and Jerry, and they think that Jerry's going to get Tom or something. It's like, so it's not, people think I blame him. I'm not even blaming him. I'm blaming us. Like, we got to do more. If every Trump voter stood their ground and did not play into medical tyranny for 1 week, it would disappear everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't even be feasible. So that's my thing. It's like, people get mad at me. They say, oh, you're blah, blah, blah. It's like, yo, I'm the real deal. Like, I really say what I mean. I really do it. I really show up at the school board meeting. I really don't wear a mask to sit 5 seconds to sit in a restaurant. I don't get a PCR test. I could go to Hawaii. I could go here. I got a lot of things to do. I'm not doing them because I refuse to do that. That's my line in the sand. I'm not going to get tested to go somewhere. I'm not going to get tested to work. I'm not going to give into that. If everybody did that on the Trump side, it'd be over. But you got a lot of people that don't do anything, and they just sit there and like, oh, maybe Trump will save my life in 2024. He's not going to. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's like, when Obama was in office, I'm keeping it moving. I don't like him, but he's not going to stop my hustle. Trump's not going to stop me, clearly, and Biden's not going to stop me either. I mean, he could try with the truckers, right? He's trying, But if all the truckers say no, Biden's not going to deliver the food. He's a do nothing loser. Like, you think Joe Biden has the capability to do what truckers do? No, you have the power, because if everybody comes together and says no, we could kind of push back. So that's kind of the point I'm getting to. But a lot of people, they like to just watch a show. They cartoon Donald Trump so bad, and the media cartooned him as a villain. That wasn't true. QAnon cartooned him as the hero of humanity. That wasn't true. And a lot of right wing media cartooned him as, oh man, this guy's really going to drain the swamp, when he really didn't. I mean, he did better than Biden, but I don't know. That's a pretty low bar, to be honest. But I think that's kind of their game. They just keep lowering the bar and making people go crazy. So then someone comes along and they're like, oh, that's better. It's like, how could you not be better? Like, if this were the president, this is like, I put this on so it's like a pop filter when I'm recording. If this was the president and it just sat there and didn't do anything, this would be better than Joe Biden. You're like, what do you think about Al Qaeda? And it's just like, and you're like, dope, dope, dope. I agree. So it's a low bar. It's who's not better than Biden? I guess AOC or something. But as far as Republicans, like, I don't think it's even possible to be worse than that. You have to really dedicate yourself to evil in order to like out wicked Joe Biden's administration. I gotta crack my back. MP said, if we don't stand up, next thing you know, we will be required to present proof that we have never had mental health issues, so we don't endanger others. Oh, for sure. And that's a lot of the red flag laws. Here's my thing with guns. Of course, you don't want bad people to own guns and crazy people to own guns. But the thing that a lot of Republicans, when Republicans were pushing red flag laws, a lot of your favorite Republicans were like, maybe that's a good idea. What does it mean to be mentally unhealthy? The government is not going to be able to tell you what's mentally unhealthy. They think anybody that's healthy is unhealthy, and they think the least unhealthy people on the planet are healthy. So if you give the government power to say you're not mentally sound, they're going to abuse that. If they were perfect, yeah, sure, red flag laws. They're not. They hate you. They hate everybody. So it's like, they're not going to do it right. So yeah, it's the same thing with all this stuff. It's an escalation. If they can do it to this product or this mask or this test, it's not going to stop. We're opening the floodgate. The possibilities are unlimited to what they can do. And it's so clear. It's so clear that they're going to keep going. I would say, if this were betting odds, I'm not like a massive gambler, but I do understand it, like Texas Hold'em, percentages. I like math. If the betting odds were like, what are the odds, if this were Las Vegas, what are the odds of the authoritarian medical psychopaths and the Biden administration and big pharma? What are the odds of them like stopping in 2022 and just being like, yo, we made a fortune, we got a lot, and let's go back to normal? And what are the odds of them continue to escalate this? I would say the odds of them escalating this have to be like 95%. And there's like a 5% chance that under their own free will, they're just going to back off and take their fortune and take their power and be like, yo, we had a good run for a few years. So the unlikely scenario is you're going to go back to normal, like randomly. The very likely scenario is this is like the new normal. They're not even like pretending to not do this. Like, January, you're not getting your freedom back. January, they're taking more away. You get what I'm saying? Like, so people got to figure this out and just say no. It's that simple. But I think truckers will do it. I really do. I don't think truckers are the right group to push. Maybe they're purposely doing that. Maybe this is purposeful so they could sabotage the supply chains even more. Who knows? But it's definitely not smart. Someone said, I'm a Republican, but it helps to have common sense. Well, God bless you. Someone said, y'all know Australian residents were taken to camps today, right? I covered it yesterday. Yeah, there's like a quarantine facility situation going on. You could watch my video from yesterday. I did a whole piece on it, so I don't really want to speak on it because I already did a more in depth. You go back 2 videos and you can see it. Someone said we come into a big stop. I mean, there's definitely something weird going on, no question. Someone said truckers have more power than DC, but do they have the cojones? I think they do. Honestly, I think I trust truckers more than I trust Trump hotels. To make a big stand. I think truckers have more leverage, more people, and also more cojones. Someone said they might mandate it for postal workers after the holidays. They might, but they have a problem with certain unions. When certain unions really fight back, it's harder. But I do think that they're doing it spread out purposely. I think they're trying to spread it out because if they did it all at once, everybody would be like, "Whoa, we're gonna stand together." But if they could slowly just, you know what I'm saying? You, then you, then you. I think this is not random. I think they're doing it because it's it's harder to address when it's like super spread out. And America doesn't seem to like come together on that. Plus, honestly, another reason is, a lot of people, I mean, I hate to throw blame, but people really don't understand why I feel the way I feel. From March until January 20th, I was upset with Republicans and conservatives and libertarians and Trump supporters because nobody wanted to protest and nobody wanted to stand up against the medical tyranny. Why? Because they felt like Donald Trump was going to save them, blah, 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 blah. So then November rolls around and everybody spends all their energy and money funneling money to Donald Trump for this big January, moment. They're like, oh, he's going to be in office, where Mike Pence. And I'm like, none of this is going to happen. So Trump selfishly does this event in January. Whatever. It's not his fault, but stupid strategy. And then what do you think happened in January? There was no medical protest because Donald Trump was sucking up all the attention for himself for selfish reasons. Okay. So what happened on January 6th? Most of the big organizers who organize events, they went to January 6th. People that would have been organizing medical tyranny events, many of them got arrested, raided, they're in court cases right now. So do you think that of course that had a huge reason for why we don't have like a real movement in this country, because Donald Trump kamikazed all of the organizers who would have been standing against medical tyranny on January 6th. And then he pardoned Lil Wayne and Kodak Black and said, deuces, I'm out. I'm going to go on my world tour to sell Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson products. So I was wondering why nobody was going to protest this stuff for a year. And then everybody that was like, oh, yeah, we're going to protest it after the election, they can't anymore because Donald Trump set them up. So it's like, there's a reason that this country is not protesting right now. Multiple reasons. We're a little bit more free. Everybody runs circles around the vaccine salesman. He got everybody set up at the Capitol who probably would have been leading the charge. And, people are distracted by race and, Kyle Rittenhouse, George Floyd type stuff. So that's where we are. Ron said, anomaly, you're a liberal. Ron, you be smart, buddy. I'm a real conservative / right leaning person. I'm not one of these phonies who sits up there and says, America will never be a socialist country. And you say, yeah, he's a real patriot. And then he prints trillions of dollars and funnels $18 billion to big pharma. I'm sorry, but your hero was a socialist. I reject socialism. I reject communism. I reject the Communist Manifesto. I reject any slippery slope to socialism. Donald Trump is not a libertarian. He's a socialist. I know that hurts your feelings because he talks a good game to you. But when push came to shove, the receipts speak for themselves. That's not free market capitalism. He went full blown Bernie Sanders. But boy, did he sell you on something else. Someone said we are socialist already. Yeah, we've been sliding in that direction, but 2020 was the most socialist communist year on record. It's not even debatable. Like that, you lost your country with that guy in the White House, and he didn't seem to care. But I'm not here to argue with people because people have been, no, no, just give him another chance. We're Mike Lindell. Yeah, he's around the corner, Patriots. I got it. 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 Oh, wait, never mind. I woke up from my nap. I still don't get it. It's okay. Someone said AOC is vacationing right now. I don't know if that's true, but hopefully she enjoys the sun rays, and maybe if she gets enough sunlight, maybe she'll calm down, and then she comes back and her eyes aren't going to be bugging out like, "Baka!" And you're like, oh my God, maybe she gets enough sun out there. She'll come back and she'll be like, I've changed my ways. I've decided to stop lying so much. I've decided to stop deceiving so much. I'm a changed woman. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe she'll come back and just be like, "Baka!" And just, why'd you do that, AOC? Green New Deal or die. No, I'm just kidding. Someone said, so she doesn't peck you. Yeah, no pecking. We're all about peaceful protests here. No pecking from Crazy Eyes Cortez. Okay. Someone said Pompeo wants to jail and silence Assange. Yeah, but did you hear about the message board patriots who literally piggybacked off of Julian Assange's WikiLeaks to create their whole fake movement, and now they run circles around Mike Pompeo because he posts on he schedules posts on Sprout Social every 30 minutes, so they think they're getting secret codes because they want to live vicariously through. Yeah, he might want Assange jailed, but gosh darn, does he tweet 30 minutes and I think it means something. People are like, dude, Pompeo's tweeting every 30 minutes, Patriots. There's a message, bro. It's called scheduling posts on a $10 application that you could use. Anyone can schedule posts like that. No, yeah, he might want to jail Assange, but he's my hero. It's like, bro, it's crazy to me. I get it though, because I kind of fell under the spell a little bit. Not that, but in general, it's like, the media paints him as the villain. So you're like, oh, he must be the hero. You know what I'm saying? And then like push comes to shove, and you're like, oh no, never mind. It didn't happen. But then people are like, it's gonna happen in 2029. In 2029, Patriots. That's when the real you're like, it just takes a long time. Oh my gosh, it's too funny. Someone said we have no liberty. Most people don't even know what it means. We are already slaves to the system. Yeah, but sometimes I do jumping jacks and Biden can't stop me. I'm out here working out and then and nobody can stop. I'm running on the beach, and so to some extent we're controlled. To some extent we're slaves, but I'm also very grateful. There's a lot of freedom and there's a lot of not freedom. So I'm still grateful for what we have. I want to say this real quick because it's outside of politics, but I think nobody talks about it and it's important. For me, as much as there's the Biden administration and the mandates and all this stupid stuff, to me, my biggest opponent, right? I'm not even going to say threat, but my biggest make or break for me personally, and I think this is a lot of people, how much time do you spend on your phone outside of Biden, outside of Kamala Harris, outside of the state you're in? How much time do you spend on your phone? What do you do on your phone? Sometimes I'm on my phone for 4 hours, 5 hours. My neck starts hurting. My back starts hurting. Biden didn't do that to me. Trump didn't do that to me. Democrats didn't do that to me. It's me. So, you're as free as you want to be. I'm not going to say you could be 100% free, but like you have to understand that the thing that's enslaving us most, I believe, is the cell phone. And it's interesting. It's called the cell phone, like a prison, right? A cell phone. But it's like, how much time do you spend on your phone? What do? You can create a new career. You could create a business. You could make $1 million. You could schedule a vacation. You can communicate. You could FaceTime. You could do something. You could play a game. You could talk to people on Twitter. You can complain on Instagram. The phone is like the craziest thing ever. And we spend, some people spend 5 to 12, 13 hours on it a day. So I think if you really want to win in this world, outside of all the craziness with the politics and the mandates, can you maximize the time, your free time? Can you maximize that? And whatever time that you're spending on your phone wasting, myself included, can I reappropriate that, even if it's 1 or 2 hours a day, and work towards being healthier, working out, doing something in the real world, looking at the sun, playing a sport, something that's fun. And that could really change your life and make you happy or sad. I could sit on my phone for 5 hours and be super sad and bummed out and just looking at the world. And then I put my phone down and I go to the beach, or I put my phone down and I play basketball and I shoot around. And I always have such a better time. And I always think to myself, I'm like, man, why don't I do this more? I do have fun a lot, but I'm like, sometimes I'm in a bummy mood and then I just go do something fun. And I'm like, oh, this is so much better than being on my phone. I'm not saying not to use it, but I think that's like the number one threat to everybody's happiness and everybody's like life that they don't even think about. Where I'm like, man, as crazy as what Biden's going on, it's like the battle between me and my cell phone, and the battle between me and what I do in my free time to get away from Twitter, to get away from Facebook, to get away from Instagram. It like sucks into my face. I'm like, I'm so tired of this bad news, you know? So I think that's an underrated thing that's going on where, you know, amongst all this terrible stuff, I think one of the things that's taking our freedom away more than anything is our own, you know, self accountability when it comes to how we spend our time and how much we get sucked in to certain bad plots and bad narratives without, you know, really having a plan on how to get out or how to really be effective in it. So, you know, something to think about, because nobody talks about that. But I know in my own personal life, like Biden is not on the daily coming knocking on my door screaming at me. It's me being like, yo, why am I doing this? I should go work. Why did I just spend 2 hours doing that? Why am I responding so much? Why? Let me just put this thing down. Something to think about. God bless you guys. Have an amazing Thanksgiving. Have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Hopefully you enjoy it. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite days to just eat food, watch sports, hang out with people, especially the food part. I mean, of course, people is good too, but come on. That's one day that I feel, and maybe I shouldn't, but I feel like it's okay to just eat as much as physically possible. This is not medical advice. This is not diet or nutrition advice, but that's my plan on Thanksgiving. I just eat as much as I possibly can and pass out. It's a good time. God bless you guys. Have a good one. Oh, it's Thursday's Thanksgiving, but still, you get a day earlier.